Right to Apple, never change their time. Yeah.
Okay. Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order. And do I have a mover and a seconder?
Moved by Councillor McInnes, seconded by Councillor Clark, that this meeting be opened at 7 p.m.
All in favor? Carried. And next we have the adoption of the agenda. Mover and a seconder, please.
Moved by Councillor Corbett, seconded by Councillor McInnes, that the agenda presented to council and dated the 28th day of April 2026 be adopted as amended to include item 9B overweight permit.
All in favor? Carried. And any disclosure of pecuniary interest in general nature thereof? I will declare an interest. I have filled out my paper, and I will declare an interest in 9B. Is it 9B? Yeah. And it's with respect to the overweight permits. And my son has made an inquiry about it, so I will declare an interest. Next, we have presentations and delegation. Oh, oops, sorry, skipped. Could I please have an adoption of the previous minutes, a mover and a seconder?
Moved by Councillor Clark, seconded by Councillor Featherstone, that the minutes of the regular council meeting of April 14th, 2026 be adopted as circulated.
All in favor? Carried. Next, we have presentations and delegation.
None for this evening.
A question period.
None for this evening.
And next, we have a staff report from the Deputy Clerk Treasurer with respect to 2026 municipal election procedures. This is a report for the municipal elections procedures. The recommendation will be that council receives staff report 2026-01 elections, municipal election procedures for information purposes only. The 2026 municipal election procedures be made available on the municipal website, and that the 2026 municipal elections procedures be made available to all candidates through the election package. The background is municipalities are required to publish procedures for the 2026 municipal elections. Clerks, rather than council, will determine the dates and times for advance voting. They can also establish reduced voting hours in certain institutions and determine whether voting places will open early on voting day. The Municipal Elections Act 1996, as amended, has also increased the implied and direct discretionary authority of the clerk, which are outlined in the municipal election procedures under table of contents, discretionary powers of the clerk. I won't go through the whole document. Council has had time to review it. It will be posted on the website as soon as adopted by council and be referenced through during the municipal election campaign and made available to anybody who wants a copy. So I think that's all I'm going to say instead of going through this. There is no financial implications, and as stated before is just to recommend that council approves this, and then we can add it to our councillor or municipal election packages. Can I ask you just one question? Because I didn't review it that closely, but it says that there could be changes throughout from the province. Is that something then council has to
accept those changes during the time that they're making the changes? Or is this just an addition to the report that council has already accepted?
I believe the clerk has all authority on that, so I don't think council would have to approve anything that would be added from the provincial government. They're usually, they make sure that everything is done before May 1st so that there's no changes during that election period. But it would be the authority of the clerk.
Okay. But those changes would be added to our website if,
Yes.
if necessary. Okay, any other questions?
Just a note, a clerical note under nomination papers. Is it Friday, May 1st or Monday, May 4th? Because right now it's listed Monday, May 1st.
Friday.
Friday, May 1st.
What page, sorry?
5 at the bottom paragraph, page 5.
On this one here? Okay. I will make sure to update that before it's posted.
Sorry, I just caught it now. Or else
No,
would've
no,
called you
that's
ahead.
good.
Down below as well has Monday, May 1st. Under nominations must be filed with the following manner.
On that one? Okay,
To keep the dates.
yes, I will do a review of any word that says Monday to make sure that it has the appropriate date on it.
Okay, any other question?
No.
No, can I have a mover and a seconder, please?
Moved by Counselor Featherstone, seconded by Counselor McInnes, that council for the Township of Bonneville accepts the recommendation from the deputy clerk's memo, municipal elections procedures for information purposes only, and that the 2026 municipal elections procedures be made available on the municipal website and to all candidates through the election package.
All in favor? Carried. Next, we have the minutes of the Emergency Services Committee of April 20th. And also we have Fire Chief Sean McGee here to make a presentation to us.
Thank you, Your Worship. My report to council here and to the Emergency Services Committee outlines our monthly operational update. The report highlights the activities of the Bonneville Volunteer Fire Department from February 10th, 2026 till April 16th, 2026. The purpose of this report is to keep the committee and council informed on fire service activities. For our operations, we have 19 operational volunteer members. During that time frame, we responded to 11 calls for service, 6 for medical, 1 structure fire, 1 burning complaint, 1 MVC, 1 lift assist, and 1 ambulance assist. Year to date, from this date for this report that was compiled, we have 14 calls for service for the 2026 calendar year. For our firefighter training report, the purpose of the training report is to enhance operational readiness, ensure all personnel are proficient in the use of firefighting equipment, and to maintain compliance with safety standards through regular inspection and maintenance. Our training overview is the types of training we do practical and theoretical firefighting skills for 2 to 3 hours every Monday night. Average participant numbers between 17 and 20 per night. We get every Monday night, between 17 and 20 out of the 19. So I'm very, very happy, and I'm very honored that we have such a high turnout every Monday night. Our key focus areas is that we do SCBA comfortability, so we make sure that the firefighters are comfortable using the equipment, that they test it, they know how to use it in different scenarios. And that ranges everything from daily use to if you're caught in firefighter survival, which means you have a failure of your SCBA equipment, what do you do? We did some winter drafting operations at the dam. This was back in February with the tanker and our portable pumps. We always do medical assessment and scenarios, as the bulk of our calls for assistance are medical. We got a new accountability tag system, so that was issued, and we did some training on the accountability system. So the accountability system is for firefighter safety. It allows me as the incident commander to know who's in the hot zone, how many is in the hot zone, and how long they've been in the hot zone. So if need be, I can rotate the firefighters as long as they have the training to be in the hot zone. So it's accountability, so I know how many are there, so I know how long they've been in there for. So it goes to their SCBA as well. How long they've been on air for, how long duration, what have they been doing? Are they tired? So that way I can keep track and rotate them for firefighters to make sure they're not in the hot zone beyond their limitations. We got new digital radios were placed back in service, and we did some proper radio transmissions practice. So now I've got the firefighters up to par and speed and how to use the digital radios, how to transmit. And with the digital radios, everything that we say on the radio is now recorded. So now I can go back and play back that scenario, that transmission for protection for the township, for protection for the fire department, and for my monthly SIR reports or my standard incident reports to the OFM. So that way I know if we're meeting our benchmarks and where we're lacking, if we need some more training on how to use the radios and how to implement the benchmarks. We also did a chimney fire, because back in February and early March, it's prime chimney fire season. So we did some training on chimney fires. We did 3 different workshops were operated some Monday nights. So we have our recruits that are not on yet, but they're working towards to getting confirmed by council. So those recruits, they did PPE donning, or personal protective equipment donning and doffing, led by firefighter Adam Fulton. The AFR Emergency First Responder Group, those are the members that are trained in first aid, because our recruits are not. So the members that are trained in first aid, they did practical medical training, so we did scenarios with them. So we did everything from unconscious to VSA, difficulty breathing, to people that having our scenarios we did with anxieties, people that not people, but we did scenarios where they did anxiety, that they had claustrophobia, that mental illness was discussed as well in that training for the medical scenarios. And that was led by Captain Mason. And the non-trained EFR groups, so the group that are probationary firefighters that have not been trained in first aid yet, they did SCBA donning and air management drills. So what the air management drill consists of is that they'll put on the SCBA, they'll do some physical work with the SCBA on, and we'll be able to track them how long are they on air for, how long before they drain that tank. So that will give me an indication of how long they could be in the hot zone. So typically our bottles right now are 45 minutes. They can usually, if you do hard work, you could be in the hot zone for 15, 20 minutes. It's usually half. I'm looking at later on to share, and my report will reflect it later on in council, that if we do purchase the SCBAs, the new bottles, that will increase that working time. So they can actually be in the hot zone a little bit longer. At conclusion of these drills, we just did a flip. So the recruits did the SCBA don and air management. The non-AFR trained did medical scenarios, and the ones that were medically trained, they assisted with the recruits. The firefighters trained and practiced firefighter survivor skills. So this is of great interest to council. For a firefighter survivor skill, we have what's called a lobster trap. So in there, it's a wooden box about 10 feet long, and it's intertwined with wire. So they're on SCBA, full bunker gear, and they go through that. So that tests the candidates' claustrophobia, and then what they do if they get tangled up in wires. So if you go into a structure fire and you can't see and you get tangled up in some wires, how do I get out of there safely? What do I do? One thing I've trained them on is to, if you get caught up, take a moment, catch your breath, reorientate yourself, and think, okay, where is the tangle up? Is it in the back of my bottle? Is it over my shoulder? Is it around my leg? And they're able to untangle themselves. And then just when they got to the end, there was a piece of drywall there that they had to force their way through. So to talk about forcible entry as well, firefighter survival. Well, okay, now I have to remove myself from this environment. Now I have to breach a wall to get out of that environment. So they were pretty tired at the end of that. So, but all of them did really, really well, and it gave them a greater appreciation that, hey, just because you're out of this, there's another danger waiting for you here. How do you cope with that? What do you do? The firefighters did some shuffling exercises. As you know, we have no hydrants in the township, so we're all water shoveling. So we always incorporate water shuttling into our training nights. So we'll go and fill up the tanker or the pumper after we drop the water in our porta tank. They'll draw from it, and then I'll time them. How long does it take you to get to the next water source, fill up your tank, and get back to the scene? Because now I know how much time I have and how much water I need. If we have to fight a fire, how long I've got. So it has to do with pumping as well, but they're getting a lot more proficient at drafting and filling up their trucks and getting to the scene as quickly as they can. Ground monitor, so yeah, we placed a porta tank and how to refill the apparatus. A ground monitor was also incorporated in the exercise. So a ground monitor is like a sprinkler system. So it's a ground monitor that sits on the ground, and there's a water curtain. So we use that to protect the exposures. So that was incorporated. That could be unmanned. So really the driver of the apparatus can actually can monitor that as well as the pump itself. So we use that as a water curtain. So we'll put it in between where we need to protect the exposures. It's usually hooked up with a 65mm hose and then into a big giant sprinkler system, and it just shoots water up like a water curtain. So it's a barrier between the exposures. The fire department, we received a presentation on the Draeger Airboss SCBA system. So that's the new system we're looking to purchase because all of our surrounding departments use Draeger. So that way, if we did a mutual aid call with, East Ferris or Calvin, or even if we had to do with Powassan, they all use the Draeger Airboss system. So if we went with them and we need to change our bottles, we could use their bottles and vice versa. And we could fill our bottles while we're down there. So it's easy compatibility between us and all the surrounding departments. That was a really good presentation. It was put on by TransCanada. They came down, they were there for over 2 hours, and it was a really good presentation. The department is looking at replacing their aging SCBAs. Neighboring departments use the Draeger system. So once, if approved by council and we get the Draeger system in the fall, then that will put us in line with every other neighboring department. We all have the same SCBAs. A real-time, quote unquote, a real-time trail rescue exercise involved the deployment of the Gator on tracks to access remote areas of the municipality on the snowmobile trail. So we did a rescue on the snowmobile trail. So we had the Gator out there with on his snow tracks, and we had a medical scenario. So how do you access the patient? We have to package up the patient. What skills do you need? How do you package up the patient? How do you extricate that patient from that trail on the back of the Gator to waiting EMS personnel? So that was a really excellent exercise because it showed me where the gaps were in our communications and in our skills on out in the wilderness. So that we have scheduled some more training like that coming up in the spring without the tracks, with just the Gator on. We also use, I don't know if council is familiar, if we use what's called a What 3 Words app. So that app is, if you're in a remote area where you don't know where you are, you hit What 3 Words app. When you call 911, they'll ask you what 3 words, you tell what 3 words are in your app, and they can GPS your phone, exactly where your location. That was coordinated in combination with the trail rescue. So that way all of our firefighters have the What 3 Words app. So at any time, if you're disoriented, you can just you call 911, say, I'm lost, I don't know where I am, but I have the What 3 Words app. The 911 call taker will say, what 3 words are on your phone? You say what 3 words, and they GPS your location. So that way it's better, get the EMS and get us out to the location of people nowadays, in the fall when hunting season's on, or if they're out fishing and they're disoriented or lost, they just give us what 3 words and they'll GPS the coordinates to us and we know exactly where they are. Also, in the trail rescue, the instant command system was also implemented as well. So I had my officers use the instant command system. So it gave me a good idea, a better understanding on where's lacking in the IC system for my officers. So I know what areas to focus on. And the guys loved it. Like the firefighters loved that exercise with the What 3 Words app, instant command system. So I told them, I said, this is new to you guys, the instant command system. I said, there's going to be some hiccups, but I said, you guys did a really good job. So it gave me now a better understanding of where I need to focus on when it comes to training on the IC system for our officers. Equipment checks and maintenance protocols were also implemented as it is every Monday night. And safety and hazard awareness. When it comes to safety and hazard awareness, that's one thing that I teach my officers right off the bat is know your environment. Is it safe for you to enter that environment? Because in the fire service, we save a lot, we risk a lot to save a lot, and we risk a little to save a little. If that patient is not savable, we shouldn't be going in there because that patient is not savable. If the patient is savable, the property is savable, we're going in. If it's not, take care of yourselves. I know it's hard to hold us back because we want to get in there, but at the same time, I don't need 2 or 3 more patients now when I only have 1. So it's changing their mindset, teaching them how to think critically when they look at a scenario. Just don't have your blinders on. Think, okay, I got to do a rescue. Think about, look around. What is dangerous to me as a rescuer? So I know every now Monday night now when we're out training, I see a lot of guys doing this, looking around, looking at their environment. So for our equipment checks during the session, all firefighting equipment underwent a thorough inspection to ensure operational reliability. We do that first thing Monday night when we get in there and make sure equipment's ready to go. We always check our PPE or personal protective equipment. We always check for wears, damage, tears, and also does it properly fit? Do you have gloves that are too small? Do you have a helmet that's too small? Are your bucker pants too short? Are your boots too small? So we always make sure, and I document everything if anything needs to be changed, replaced, retrofitted. Our breathing apparatus, our SCBAs, we verify the air cylinder pressure, our mask seal integrity, and the regulator function. So the regulator is a regulator that fits on your mask, and that's when it allows you to breathe air on demand. If the regulator is not fitting properly, it's going to leak out. And now you don't have 20, 25 minutes of air. You may only have 15 minutes of air now because as you breathe more air is being expelled, you have a leak. So if you have a leak, you may not be able to go into the hot zone because time to get in there, it'll be time to come back out. And our hoses and nozzles are inspected for leaks, cracks, and coupling damage. Our ladders are checked for structural integrity, locking mechanisms, and cleanliness. And our communication devices were tested, our radios are always tested, and make sure our radios are clean and they're clear, that you can actually hear the person on the radio. So one way I've taught the firefighters, when you talk on the radio, don't talk like this. Talk off a bit to the side, have your voice go across, because if you do it in the front, you're going to get a muffled sound. And if people are like, I can't hear you, say again, what did you say? So you have the radio, your microphone just off to the side of your mouth. You speak clearly, your voice goes across the microphone, and you'll be able to hear a lot clearer, as opposed to having it right up to your mouth. Our maintenance activities, we always follow inspections. Necessary maintenance was performed. Our portable pump on tanker 1 was repaired in-house. They changed the drive belt on the door operator at station 2. We refilled the SCBA cylinders to full capacity, and we updated the maintenance logs for all service equipment. For our outcomes for our training, all equipment is confirmed operational and compliant with NFPA standards. All firefighters demonstrated improved familiarity with inspection and maintenance procedures. Our maintenance records were updated for accountability and future reference, and all firefighters, including probationary and junior firefighters, showed competency. That was the outcome of our training nights. The recommendations: we continue our weekly equipment inspections, and we schedule monthly refresher training on equipment handling. So we're now in the process of selecting equipment each month. So now it's coming to springtime, we'll do hoses, ladders, but we may not touch hoses, ladders again until October, November, if we don't have a call in between there. So now I've scheduled that, okay, every couple of months, go back to ladders, go back to hoses. Are they still working properly? Are they operational? Do you know how to use them? Show me how to use a ladder, how to set up a ladder. What are you looking for in a ladder? The wear and tear. Is the heat signature been faded, which means that ladder has been subject to heat, which means it has to be tested now. So now I've implemented that just because you touch a tool once, go back to it again. Just don't leave it until next time you may use it at a call. For our special training, our firefighters are preparing for the FPA certifications. We have firefighters next month doing their Firefighter 2 practicals. So once they do the practicals, then, and they pass the practicals, then those firefighters will be firefighter 1 and 2 certified before the July 1st deadline date. Our practical firefighting skills were led by Training Officer Ben Tastula, and our firefighters are actively seeking self-paced educational courses related to the NFPA state of certification. So I have firefighters that want to take some courses, and I always look at it, is this relevant to the certifications? If it is not, I say no. If it is, then I discuss with the firefighter, what are you going to get out of this course? How is it going to improve you? What is the takeaway? And once they satisfy me, then I will approve of the course that they're taking. A lot of it is self-paced, so it's online. So it's minimal cost to the department. But I have a lot of firefighters that are informational hungry. They want to take a lot of courses. I have to kind of slow them down a little bit. Now I get into my updates. Yeah. We have ongoing training for our new recruits and firefighters and junior firefighters. The fire chief and the entire Bonfield Fire Department congratulates firefighter Adam Parcher on being selected as the volunteer firefighter of the month for February. Adam is always looking to ways to improve the Bonfield Fire Department and is eager to help the new recruits. Adam performs every task with enthusiasm. Congratulations, Adam. The fire chief and the entire Bonfield Fire Department congratulates firefighter Eric Aldridge on being selected as volunteer firefighter of the month for March. Eric is working very hard towards his firefighter 2 certifications. Eric is always eager to help out. And Eric, he can literally run to the station when we get a call. So, yeah, he can literally run to it. So he's a great asset to us. And anytime someone's there, he always asks, you guys want some help? You want to do something? The fire chief, upon council's approval, the fire chief would like to recommend the hiring of Abby Wilson and Keelan McLaren to the rank of probationary firefighter. Abby joined us January 4th. And she has passed her 3 months with us. She's come out every Monday night. She will be an excellent addition to the fire service for us. And Keelan was one of our juniors. So he's been with us for over a year. And now he is of age, and now he is ready to take on the role of probationary firefighter. A new gear washer and dryer were delivered. This equipment will now allow firefighters to wash their contaminated gear in-house as opposed to sending it out to a third-party contractor in North Bay. This is a major step in cancer prevention for the firefighters. So I'm in the process right now of getting that washing machine hooked up. And what we have dryer racks. So dryer racks, it doesn't need to be installed. We just put the rack together. The firefighting equipment or the gear goes in the washing machine, gets washed, and then once it's done, you hang it to dry as per NFPA standards. And now we can do it in-house. The washing machine allows us to only wash one set at a time. But you have to relatively, like, our call volume for any kind of hazardous environment is low. So that one gear at a time is very sufficient for us. So now they can wash it right away as opposed to transporting it in their personal vehicle to the third party, waiting a week or a week and a half, getting it, and then coming back. So now this is a major step, and I want to show my appreciation, thank you, and thank council and the Ontario and federal government for the grant that allowed us to purchase this equipment. I'm working with the CAO right now. We're going to update the points of remuneration system. So that's still in draft, but CAO and I are working towards it. We should have this done very shortly. I've implemented a monthly station inspection list, so it's compliant for stations 1 and 2. So every first Monday of every month, I have a firefighter do the station inspection as per WHMIS and the Occupational Health and Safety Act. They do station 1 and station 2, and then what they do, they give it to me, and I upload it, and I print a copy off for my files. So that's every month. So that's a monthly inspection now. So we look at, is our Joint Health and Safety Board, is it updated with the appropriate legislation and the materials? Are the stations clean? Are there any trip hazards? The stations that need any disrepairs, any repairs that be needed to the station? Lighting, how's lighting in the stations? So that's any sharp objects. Is there proper guards on the equipment? So that's all noted in the monthly inspection report for both stations. Myself and Deputy Chief Strood, we attended the Northeastern Fire Conference from March 27th to 29th in Huntsville. Workshops on various topics ranging from health and safety to hoarding were presented. Deputy Strud also attended the First Responder Inspection Seminar. So I did the General Assembly, which included the health and safety. Deputy Strud did the journal as well as the hoarding as well as the workshop. So it was a great networking session. I learned a lot from my peers in other departments, and so did Deputy Strud. So it's that conference that we go to every year is very valuable to us, not only the fire service, but also to the township as well. This information we bring back that allows me to implement certain things and think of things at a different perspective that I didn't even think of before talking to my peers. Yeah, a post-incident analysis debrief was completed for the fire on Sunnyside Drive and MVC on Highway 531. The fire on Sunnyside Drive was on Monday, it was Easter Monday. With that, it was a garage fire in the morning, and then we had the MVC a week before that. For fire prevention is ongoing during any kind of incident or call. We do monthly prevention activities as per our calendar. And as state 11 smoke and seal alarms have been delivered to residents who requested them. And I have documented the addresses so that like a GIS, I know what areas they've been delivered to. And for our community involvement, the Bonfield Fire Department attended family day activities at Community Rink. There were a skills competition and a friendly hockey game, which consisted of firefighters, OPP, and the community. The Bonfield Fire Department hosted an open house on Sunday, March 22nd from noon till 5. The theme was change your batteries in your smoke CO detector and know your escape route. The firefighters showcased the auto extrication SABA equipment, and free smoke and CO alarms were available upon request. And that is my report.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief McGee. I'll have a motion to accept the report, and then if anybody has any questions.
There's only a motion to adopt the two
committee.
firefighters, yes.
Yeah, okay. Can we have that motion?
Moved by Councillor Corbett, seconded by Councillor Featherstone, whereas the fire chief recommends to council to hire Abby Wilson and Keelan McLaren to the rank of probationary firefighters for the Bonfield Volunteer Fire Department, be it hereby resolved that council approves of this recommendation.
Okay, I'm going to ask the question do you have any questions to our chief?
I do not. I'd like to congratulate the two new recruits, so that's fantastic.
I would like to say something. I saw your team or your crew at the
Trade show?
yeah. And they were very, very friendly, and they represented our township very well. Everybody was chatting with them, and I thought it was very nice that they were in the trade show and were there representing the fire department, and I'll say thank you for that.
Thank you.
And also to the committee to have them there. So, all in favor? Carried. And you can stay as long as you.
I got a meeting now with my deputy.
Me too.
You can stay as long as you want.
Yeah.
All right, next we have a number 9, and that's granular stockpile of the report for request for quotation. And that was April 14th, 2026. And you're going to give us a report on that, or did you?
I wasn't present at the last meeting, so I'm not sure if the report was already read or not.
Okay,
It was?
Yeah, we read it.
The report was read. At the last meeting, the report was read, and then council had asked for a quotation for quarry as well. So there could be a comparable between a quarry stockpile versus a granular A stockpile. So we've not done the RFP yet for that quarry. We've been fixing roads.
Yes.
I
appreciate that.
believe that was an issue, if I may comment on it, we requested, and if I'm incorrect, tell me, we requested a gravel, and we received the tender part of it. We received all the quotes, but then we didn't accept the quotes for a gravel, and then we decided we wanted quarry gravel. So that might be an issue. Because when you make a request for tenders, if I want to say an example, because I'm not altogether sure, and I won't compare gravel and B and C and quarry and everything else, because I'm not real familiar with that. But say you put a tender out for a little tiny Volkswagen Bug, and then you decided you wanted a Cadillac. It's, to me, I could be wrong, but I think that was an issue, that we asked for granular A. We accepted the tenders, but that wasn't what we wanted.
No, I think, I mean, I don't see a reason why we can't put out for just quarry a gravel tender. I mean,
So I mean, having done purchasing for lots of my career, according to the broader public sector procurement guidelines, we do have the ability to actually pull a tender at any point prior to it being awarded. We do stipulate that within our tenders, that we reserve that right. So legally, we are absolutely within our rights to be able to pull this at any time prior to it being awarded, and we haven't awarded it yet. So to cover your concern, I think that hopefully covers that part of your concern. I think it's prudent that we would retender as opposed to just going out and getting one or two quotes. I think we should tender it 15. It's going to delay it 15 days. A request for quote is a formal tender process. So broader public sector procurement guidelines again suggest a minimum of 15-day posting. So we would have to follow that to be in compliance, but we would be above reproach if we followed that process. So,
Alex?
So I'll just be transparent with everyone. I did get a phone call before this meeting from Miller. Both Aaron and Jordan called. They just wanted me to reiterate a couple things because they couldn't attend the meeting. Is that okay with everybody?
sure.
Okay, so what they wanted to say was the MTO was redoing 533 this year with 14,000 ton of their material. They are willing to provide an engineered report specifying the physical properties testing with the A gravel. Their question is, if accepted by the MTO, why can't Bonfield accept this material? They also stated that they feel like they have to defend themselves currently and never have had to before, and it's acceptable to the OPS 1010 standard, as well as there's a torque rebate, as I'm sure you guys know, for purchasing within your municipality.
Yep.
So that's,
here's what my answer to that would be.
Sure.
That A gravel's perfectly fine under asphalt or whatever, but on gravel roads, it's just not as good as quarry. I mean, it's the short and simple of it. So it's perfect. It passes all the specs for MTO, absolutely. But it's good under asphalt, just not what we're looking for on country. We want to turn our roads to quarry surfaces.
And the only point I would say is that at no point am I thinking that we're trying to make Miller defend their position on this. I hope that they will actually put a bid in for the quarry A as well. And it's just unfortunately we have decided to, instead of going with granular A, we'd like to go with quarry A. So we're rescinding one. We're going to put it back out as fair as can be for anybody else to bid on it, including Miller. They'll have 15 days to review that tender and put in their best price. And if they're successful, great. Like that's fantastic. This has nothing to do against Miller, or this is really just us doing our own business, saying we would actually like quarry A instead of granular.
And they have two quarries, so.
Yeah. So again, for me, it has absolutely nothing to do with the provider of the gravel.
Will it cost us a whole lot more for that?
Well, we'd have to see what the new prices come back at.
Okay,
We did a quarry tender for our stockpile 2 years ago. And last year we went back to granular A just for budgeting reasons. So this year we did granular A, but there is room that we could do quarry.
Our roadway applications that we like hopper dump, they've all been spec quarry.
Obviously, there's a definition for quarry A, granular A, B, et cetera, for all of the categories that they have. Quarry A should sit on top. And if we are fixing our roads to standard and we want to keep them fixed, it would be to our benefit to not mix the different types of gravel so that they stay consistent. This was the reasoning that I thought was a good reason why we would do quarry A instead of the granular. And again, it has nothing to do with the bidders or the companies. It's just about the road maintenance. That's how I saw this.
no, that's right. It has nothing to do with the bidders, but with respect to the bidders, I think that we should discuss it here at the,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
And I think when we get the prices back, it'll come back for another conversation at this council meeting, because that's when we're gonna talk about value, right? So we can say, look at it, if quarry A is this much more per ton than granular A, where's that value point? Because sometimes things that are more expensive, you still get better value out of it over the long term. So that's, that's where we'd want to make sure that we're taking that into consideration.
On a
If it's-
sorry.
If it's 8 times the cost, but the road won't last 8 times as long, well, then it's,
No.
you lose your value. But if it's a little bit more expensive, but you get that much longer before you have to repair it, that's value, right? So-
Right. I mean, I'm sure grading, I mean, on a quarry road surface, you're not grading as much as the other road surfaces. Anyways,
So future conversations for sure to talk about value after we see what our potential prices are.
right.
probably for sure, it'll be considerably higher with the increase in the diesel for the hauling and
Yeah, that's
that
the
sort of
sad
thing.
world for sure.
So, all right, so at this point, it's just a discussion, or are you retendering? What's happening at this point? You're retendering for quarry, and if it's too much, you're going back to tender for granular A?
I have to look to see how long the RFP had to, typically it's a 30 or 60-day open period for when we do receive the bids. I'd have to look on what we put out in the RFP. And then,
It's 30.
yeah, so we might have to do both or negotiate again, but the quarry again, we'll have back for a meeting in May. And then you can compare the two prices to get that value.
So if we haven't exceeded 30 days, then we can go back and look at the quotes that we received the last meeting?
Correct.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
So this is the end of the discussion then, or no motions or anything? Okay, then I will leave here.
Okay, so we had a motion to reconsider at the last council meeting. This is bringing that forward for a notice of motion for overweight permits. We'll look for mover and a second, and then we'll open it up for conversation. Oh, yeah, well, it's hard. I guess we have to have a conversation. So, okay, so we'll have the conversation. In continuation of our conversation from the last council meeting, where we asked for the motion to reconsider. Just to refresh everybody's memories, we had passed a recent bylaw stating that half-load permits would not be issued between March 1st and May 15th to protect the integrity of our roads and for a litany of other reasons. Upon further consideration, I brought back the motion to reconsider with the thoughts of, one, it actually took effect this year, which I thought was not actually fair. So that was one of the reasons for the motion to reconsider. And then upon further reflection, bringing forward the idea of instead of actually setting arbitrary dates based off of one winter between March 1st and May 15th. As we know, winters and climates is changing, that there is lots of opportunity potentially in different years for people to continue to haul full loads with it being not a negative impact to our roads because it continues to be frozen or what have you. Trying to remove that onus from this council or any council's discussion and putting that onus on our expert, which is our public works manager, to be able to say when it is or is not acceptable to run full loads on our roads. So we asked staff to bring back a potential policy on this, which they have. I believe it was in everybody's hands to be able to read. And just to highlight it, obviously the purpose of the policy is to protect the integrity of our roads. The scope is for the entire municipality. The policy statements that the township may impose half load or reduced axle load restrictions on roadways when conditions indicate a heightened risk of damage. Restrictions will typically occur during the spring thaw or other periods when road strength is significantly reduced. So for the authority, the half load restriction shall be implemented under this policy and relevant provincial legislation. The public works manager is authorized to enact and lift restrictions as conditions warrant. So the criteria for implementation for consideration by the public works manager is A, road conditions. So depending on the surface type, thickness and structural capacity, the existing deterioration, so example, rutting, cracking, or potholes, and age and remaining service life. B, the seasonal and environmental conditions, so spring thaw and frost conditions, moisture levels and subgrade saturation, effectiveness of drainage systems, so ditches and culverts. C, traffic and usage, so volume and frequency of heavy truck traffic, types of loads, example, is it agricultural, construction, resource-based. D, safety considerations, so risk of road failure and unsafe driving conditions, emergency vehicle access requirements. E, economic and community impacts, so impacts on local businesses and agricultural availability of alternate and condition, as well as the availability of additional routes. F, financial considerations, so what is the cost of potential road damage and repairs versus the cost of restrictions and enforcement, as well as the available maintenance and repair budgets. Exemptions may be granted for emergency vehicles and service, essential municipal operations, example, waste collection or utilities. Other cases as approved by the public works manager and road superintendent, happens to be the same thing in our township. All exemptions must be documented and communicated clearly. And so for implementation, the appropriate signage will be installed on all roadway entrances to the township that will indicate whether there is a restriction in place at that time or not. Public notice will also be issued through municipal communication channels, and restrictions will apply. Restrictions will specify allowable axle loads at 50% of the normal load. And for monitoring enforcement, road conditions will be monitored regularly during the restriction period. Restrictions may be adjusted or lifted based on observed conditions, and enforcement will be carried out by authorized personnel in accordance with the applicable bylaws. And quite frankly, it's the MTO who does the heavy lifting of that enforcement based on the fact that they have scales. We do not. And I'm sure they would do that, hopefully in partnership with our public works manager for any of the concerns we may have. So that is the policy that you've all read in detail, but I just wanted to summarize it for those that might be watching. At the end of the day, again, trying to open up the possibility of allowing full loads to run on our roads when it makes sense for the roads and not just arbitrarily saying no due to a calendar. So I don't know if there's questions. I know I wouldn't mind actually hearing from the public works manager if he has anything to add to that, but.
No, I think now we've got a clear and concise policy in place. It's going to be pretty easy to follow. I mean, it's quite transparent in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think it's good. I mean, because, we can extend the season, like, just because it's March. I mean, look how cold it was. You could run a little longer into the season.
Or take this morning, for example, right?
Right.
We got up, it was sunny. By 10:30, it was pouring rain and the road just turned to mush.
Right.
So
I mean, it'd be up to your flexibility to lift them or put them on. I mean, which, that is what your job
Where's
is.
the job? Yeah.
So the MTO is the one that has the guidelines
Yes.
around the restrictions. So would it be prudent for us to reference that MTO sets the parameters and the legislation, and then it's at the discretion of the municipality because they
Public
at
Works.
Public Works, yeah, well, he is the municipality.
So I just don't know how this is going to work in real time. So like as a homeowner, if I'm buying a whole load of gravel for my driveway and I call and I get my trucking all set up and everything, then it gets approved through our public works manager, but then the weather changes and now it messes up my delivery time, or maybe that company is not even available the next day. Like everybody's pretty busy in the spring, including our public works manager. So I just don't know how this is going to affect everything in the long run.
So essentially, and this is, I guess, my question, we're obviously keeping the permit in place, correct?
No.
No, I
We're
actually,
getting
You
rid
no
of
longer
the
have to purchase a permit.
correct.
You just need, okay.
Permission.
so-
a conversation with the public works manager.
So if that's the case, I'd like to keep the permit application in place then
Sure.
without the fee. That way
Absolutely.
we can document A, times, B, travel routes, and C, what is being kind of hauled, right? That
I
way
think that's
we
great
have a
idea.
record for
Sure.
ourselves. Because there's been times before, Councillor Featherstone, where people have called and, you know, they've got a full load of concrete coming in, right? And then halfway through the day, it starts raining, the road's totally soupy and soft. And I've had to call them and say, you know what, like you guys, you can't run this load. Now, most places, and I'll be transparent, like I usually tell anybody that's looking to run a load, plan for early in the morning. Early morning is your prime time to run.
And nobody's really running several loads. I mean, it's a one-off. Usually in the spring, trucking isn't high demand because the road conditions. So it's a one-off or two-off. Like, so run them in the first thing in the morning, and then that's it.
So I think that this is actually council hopefully giving homeowners more options to be able to bring in gravel earlier, where you would have had to either get 2 half loads instead of 1 full load. You would have, and still, I mean, just because you have a half load permit does not guarantee you the ability to run a road. It still would say that if it was terrible conditions, that, you know, the road isn't safe
As
to run.
before, if you bought a half load permit, they're
Right.
running on the roads.
So now I think that this is actually giving more options or potential for that homeowner to get the gravel earlier versus having to wait, which is what our bylaw that we just passed, until May 15th to get a full load. So,
And let's be clear about it. I mean, no one's gonna, we're not gonna sign off on running a full load like today or in the next couple of weeks, because the roads they're softening now because the frost is coming out.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, there's some common sense involved in this too.
I think the misconception now, is that now that this is in place, right? Like, I mean, we'll see how it goes, but I think people starting tomorrow now will be calling, expecting a permit, right? And that's kind of the thing that Councillor McInnes just said, like, just because this is in place doesn't guarantee you a permit.
It's still Alex's.
It's still based
Still Alex,
upon,
absolutely.
like you said, road conditions, weather, all that stuff,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So,
Just to be clear on that, like, it's still the public works manager's, it's his discretion and the weather. I
because
mean,
I'll be honest, right? Like the last thing we need to do is make any more work for our department. Right? So
right.
it's,
I think the criteria is very well laid out here and that it's common sense, a lot of it. It makes sense. And it's pretty clear. So that,
yes, and
You
I think
know?
the only thing I would add to that would be, let's remove the dates on our signs and get new little signs that flip down and say in effect.
Yeah.
And then if the weather, you know, agrees that you can run, you can flip the sign up and
now,
then you can run.
I know this has been a hot topic. But I still would like to reiterate the fact that there's only been maybe 3 or 4 contractors through my time at this municipality that have actually ever reached out to purchase a permit or permission or so forth, right? So that being said, if we do have the backing from the MTO, as they're the ones that are able to scale and ticket vehicles, and we do get calls for fully loaded vehicles, right? Trucks and trailers and so forth. So, I mean, I just wanted to reiterate that we will be exercising that to contact
Well,
them to follow.
And now we have a direct access to an MTO officer, so it'll make things a little easier.
And if there's anything that we can do, I mean, obviously build that bridge between yourself and whoever your contact is. But if you think that it would be helpful, a letter from council requesting additional support, I think that's probably something that we would consider. So if you think that is helpful, sometimes that might make it worse.
And that's one of the other misconceptions that some people have is that, myself is able to enforce the Highway Traffic Act, which has nothing to do with my scope of work.
Right.
So.
Or quite frankly, the bylaw officer, because we do not have scales.
Correct.
Right.
So could we attach maybe a procedure to this where the procedure is, if you have this, you're calling our public works manager, you're filling out a permit form, yay or nay, like you're going to discuss it, take the information so that.
So what happens, like what I've done in the past, right? I will send the homeowner the form, they will fill it out. The contractor would then tell them, yeah, we can plan for this date.
Yeah.
They would send that form back and it would either get approved or not approved, right? So then the trucking company that's doing the delivery would have a copy in the cab with them,
Nice.
right? So if they do get pulled over,
Yeah.
right, and you don't have the copy of the permit,
So that is a procedure. So if
Correct,
we
yeah.
can spell that out, then there's no question as to how this is going to get done or, and it protects us and it protects the homeowner, it protects the contractor. And I'm not sure if this is possible, but can they give 3 days notice or like however, as much notice as possible to do this, right? So I don't know if we.
I personally wouldn't set like a notice time frame.
No.
But I will say, like most
Just as
people,
much
most people
time as
do reach out and
possible.
try and plan ahead, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you get those calls where somebody needs a load or something.
Yeah, tomorrow. I'm not,
Not-
we
not
can't
more like
discount
ASAP
that.
today.
Exactly, yeah. But
Okay, so I agree that a procedure might help this policy, but that doesn't have to hold up the policy. That can actually just be a procedure that done between the public works manager, the CIO, and just attached as part of this
this doesn't have to come back.
policy. It just does not have to come back, was my point, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, do you have questions on that? No, you're good?
No, we're just trying to word the motion.
Okay, and I will take an opportunity to slightly jump off topic a little bit, but I have actually received a number of complaints about the speed of some of the trucks running our roads lately. Not just from 1 or 2, like I've actually heard like 4 complaints, which in a township our size, 4 complaints about any one topic is actually is a lot. So I don't know if there's an opportunity to just reach out to the companies that are often running our roads and just say like, please communicate with your staff to ensure that they're following safe driving conditions and speed. It's a goodwill gesture that we're hoping. I know we don't enforce that at all. It's just
I know I do get multiple calls from residents,
Yeah.
and the same thing I tell them, I'll tell you right now, is that I encourage them to call OPP.
So
Yeah.
Councillor Clark and I at Good Roads, we visited a booth, speed radar signs, and it will give you, it'll give you the speeds, it'll flash it, but you can make it so it doesn't flash the top score.
Yeah.
But it gives you like your heavy speeding times and narrows it down so you can call the OPP and say, here, this road at this time is our, our hot times. If you could come and make a presence, maybe give a few tickets.
Are we able to rent those signs?
No, but
you
the
buy
cost,
them.
I actually had a follow-up email. with
Okay,
them
yeah,
from-
so I
from
think
Good
that
Roads, so.
also, I think that we were looking for economy of scale discounts if we partner with some neighboring communities, if they wanted 1 or 2, because I think 4 was what the woman told me. If we could get 4, we would get a reduced price. So,
But, and we passed our budget this year, but I
Yes.
mean, you know, maybe in the future.
yeah, they were very good. You could use the data. You can store the file by the road name. They
And it
were
goes-
great little.
And it goes to your roads needs study. It gives you
Yes.
how many vehicles are traveling that road every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will just wonder if
And you can move them around.
use your discretion. If you think it would be helpful to reach out to those company contacts that you have and just say, listen, we're getting a number of complaints. If you could please just communicate that to your drivers to, follow the speed limit, be cautious.
Yeah.
I think that's a goodwill gesture on behalf of those running the roads that are scared about the speed of the trucks, which they should be often if it's causing safety
Well, and we
concerns. So,
certainly don't want a tragedy.
no.
So.
Okay, so I think we can go to,
Call the mayor then?
no, I still have to call the motion.
Oh.
The resolution.
I'm not moving on with the rest of the meeting. So rescind and then move the policy. So I think we can go to number 2, Andre.
Okay.
If you want to read that. So I'll move her in seconder, please.
Counselor Corbett has
He
to
has
move,
to
right?
move that.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
it was,
Sorry,
yes.
I hit the button.
Moved by Counselor Corbett, seconded by Counselor Clark, that motion number 5 of the March 24th, 2026 council meeting regarding elimination of the overweight permit program starting for the 2026 season hereby be rescinded, and further that starting for the 2027 half-load season, the attached half-load restriction policy be implemented.
All in favor? Pass. Your worship, we're ready to go.
Whoops.
Did we keep you out there too long?
I didn't mean to slam the door. They don't even have water back there.
Desperate times.
So next we're going to resolutions, number 10, bylaw 2026-24, compliance with the compliance audit committee to appoint a compliance officer. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please?
Moved by Counselor Corbett, seconded by Counselor McInnes, that council for the Township of Bondfield hereby adopts bylaw 2026-24, being a bylaw to appoint a compliance audit committee under the Municipal Elections Act for the Township of Bondfield as presented and is considered read 3 times and passed this 28th day of April 2026.
All in favor? Carried. No questions? No? Okay. Okay, next we have the report that was submitted to us from our Integrity Commissioner, David Bogustine. And David is on the screen now, and I'd like to welcome you to our meeting this evening. And we did receive the report, and I guess at this time I'll ask each of council if they have any questions for our Integrity Commissioner.
No, I thought the report made sense. Yeah, fine.
Nothing? Okay, I'm sorry to have made you wait that long, but I'd like
That's
to
fine.
thank you for
Hopefully-
the report.
Hopefully we won't be seeing each other for another year, if everyone
Ideally.
plays,
Okay, well, if we're
plays
all
well.
here,
Yeah, right.
yes, that too.
yeah. Well, thank you very much, and I'm sorry
it
to have
was-
made you wait for so long. The meeting was pretty long this evening, but thank you for your report as well.
That's fine. No, it was a pleasure listening to an extended part of your session. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we have a mover and a seconder to accept the report.
Moved by Counselor Clark, seconded by Counselor Corbett, that council for the Township of Bonfield accepts the 2025 report from the Integrity Commissioner as presented.
All in favor? Carried. Next, we have the request from the library to use the outdoor rink for a community event. Could we have a mover and a seconder?
Moved by Counselor Featherstone, seconded by Counselor McInnes, that council receives the request from the library to use the outdoor rink on July 18th, 2026 for a community event and that rental fees be waived.
All in favor? Carried.
I look forward to seeing the rest of council at the pro sport Nerf battles. I
Yes.
think that'll be a good
Oh,
time.
yeah.
We're very excited about this, so.
Wear your eye protection, Donna.
Get out a little hostility at the pro sport Nerf battles.
Okay, and the next is, could we have a mover and a seconder to accept the correspondence?
Moved by Counselor Corbett, seconded by Counselor McInnes, that council receives the correspondence circulated with the agenda of April 28th, 2026, and further that council supports the following items. Any items?
Definitely C.
C.
Well,
Okay.
A as well. I mean, support for the highway.
Those are my.
We did that last week, or last council.
This is a different
This
one.
is a
I know.
different one. So, yeah, all of them we will support.
And further, that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to the appropriate ministries, the originator of the proposal, and MPP Vic Fideli and/or MP Pauline Rochford.
All in favor? Carried. No closed session. Confirmatory bylaw. Mover and a seconder, please.
Moved by Counselor Clark, seconded by Counselor McInnes, that the council for the Township of Bonfield hereby adopts bylaw 2026-25 to confirm the proceedings of council from April 14th, 2026 to April 28th, 2026, as presented and is considered read 3 times and passed this 28th day of April, 2026.
All in favor? Carried. The next mover, we probably don't have a mover and a seconder.
Moved by Counselor Clark, seconded by Counselor Corbett, that this meeting be adjourned at 8:07 PM.
All in favor? Carried there. Well, like to close our meeting.